Okay, let's get into it. Just want to go over my weekly recap. Market is still open. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning for me, but I have a very busy weekend. So I wanted to get this out now, and then I'll also do my best to try and get you guys the pre-market game plan going into Monday. I'll try and do that sooner than later, just so you can have it to look over for the weekend. So solid week. My overall goal as a trader is to look back on every single trade that I take and say I would 100% take this trade again. So very, very solid week. I planned all my trades and I traded my plan. And trading's probability, right? It's statistics, it's data. I just went on a crazy 9-day win streak. So a lot of traders, when they get so addicted to wins and losses, as soon as they take their first loss, they go on tilt so they can keep the quote unquote streak going. Your performance as a trader is not based on wins or losses. It can't be because it's all probabilities. Your performance as a trader is judged based on following your rules, being disciplined. Those are what makes a good trader versus a bad trader. Coming to the market doing the same thing every day. So trust me when I tell you, most traders will go on tilt right now, on a 3-day streak, losing streak. I've had plenty of months where I've had like a 30% win rate and I've made maybe like 40,000 in a month. So I've been doing this for 5 years now, consistently profitable, a little bit over 3 years. I promise you, the best advice that I've been trying to give you is you always have to think about your next 100 trades. So that being said, let's get into it. Oh, and another thing, right? You're always going to be consistently profitable if your wins are bigger than your losses. Remember that. Your wins have to be bigger than your losses. Remember that. Does not matter how many times you win or lose, as long as your wins are always bigger. Okay, so small week for me. I would consider it kind of a break-even week for me. I would say a loss type of week for me would be maybe 6,000, anywhere between 5 or 6. So pretty much a break-even week for me. Now, let's start off with Tesla. Solid 10% banger. Plan your trade your plan. So you can see here, went in with roughly 18. Yeah, 18, 10%. Like I said, every single trade that I've taken, just go back, watch the live trading session. They're all updated from this week. Yeah, they're all uploaded from this week. So you can watch every live trading session. Now, let's go here on Tesla. This was a trade that I took on Monday, 17th. So let's go here. What is this? Friday, Thursday. Okay. So we knew coming into the week or start of the week, okay, Tesla's starting to sit in a channel in between 410 and 398. We knew that. So what am I looking for? And we've been saying 410 is our key level here. So if we get a break and retest above this, we are bullish bias. We are bullish bias if we're over 410, right? Ended up taking the break and retest over this, playing your trade your plan, got this push to the upside. Now, the difference about this play was it was a momentum play. It was a momentum play. So let me go here, 5 days. You can see here, this was a momentum play. So when I was in this trade, I was in this trade as it was making a new high of day, right? All this is past tense. Give me one sec. Right? All this is past tense. So very aggressive entry here, but I knew what I was doing. I waited. I got a proper displacement candle. You can see this candle closed. I got in on this candle as it went red to green, and I played the momentum push to the upside because I knew, right? Look how extended we are. Look how extended we are. This whole move on the upside. So I knew this this pullback was coming eventually. As you know, on options, you get paid more on momentum pushes. That's why you want to sell into those momentum pops. Right? We're also pushing into a daily resistance here. During that day, it was a daily resistance. I played two strike prices out of the money. So this was a really good play, right? Playing your trade your plan. We knew 410 was our key level. If we get over this, we're bullish buy. So I played the instant break and retest. I had the overall market in my favor. This thing pushed higher. So that was a solid way to start the week. Again, another day on Tesla. So this day, this position here on AMD doesn't even count. I really just played fees on it. Like I said, you can watch the live trading session. I wasn't even in this trade for a minute. I got in and I saw how high the IV was, and instantly got out. Instantly got out. I actually got a pop in my favor, but I didn't care to be in this trade. As you guys know, you don't want to be messing around with a stock that has a super high IV, right? That implied volatility can crush you on those pullbacks. So I was in this trade for like maybe 10 seconds. I saw how high the IV was and I got out. So my mistake here was just not looking at the IV prior to entry. Tesla. So again, 2 days in a row, I get into a trade where this thing is pushing, making new lows. So again, another momentum play here on Tesla, playing your trade your plan. So on Tuesday, on this day, my key level coming into this day was 402.40, right? It's still the beginning of the week, so price action hasn't fully developed. So during that time, 402.40 was my key level. Now you can see we had 398.20 because now we're definitely sitting in a channel between 410 and 398.20. So this is my key level here, solid break, retest. I got in, believe on this candle. Yeah, I got in on this candle. I ended up sitting, in this pullback, and you can clearly see, we broke through the lower day, and then this candle closed, and then we popped to the downside again. So for me, I got to get out of that trade. We just made a new lower day. This is also the correlation with the previous day low from Monday, right? From Monday. So like I said, you can go watch the live trading session there. But solid trader, right? This was a good session, right? Because we really have to hold our water here. We have to be very, very patient because we ended up getting a displacement. You can see these wicks, right? It's very hard. This was the lower day, but price pushed into this lower day and popped up, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, either we just got a lower day bounce or we're going to retest this again and then get that continuation to the downside. So this was actually a tough trade. It was, but we just had to be very patient, hold our water. But we knew, right? We trusted our level, break, retest under 402.40, right? Stop loss is candle closure right above this. We ended up sitting in a little bit of drawdown because, like I said, I got into like this candle here, the body of this candle. You can see we retested our key level and then we fell to the downside. But here we popped back up again. So we held our water. We know as long as we're under our key level, our thesis is correct. And then we ended up getting that push into the lower day and into the previous day low. So super solid trade there. Plan your trade, trade your plan. So you can see here, typically what I like to do is like take a screenshot of the trade that I took right after. I actually sold at the bottom of this candle here. I sold into the bottom of this candle. So I was able to hold this. This is really solid. So you can see, I mean, this is all hindsight. I'm getting a push into the lower day and into the previous day low. So you got to expect, okay, seller's going to step in now. Q started to bounce as well. So kind of got out there. Super solid trade though. Once again though, right? This is a different type of play. It's a momentum push. You can see here, this is the 5 minute. So I took that instant break and retest. We pulled it all the way back up. Seller stepped in again, put this thing down. I sold into that momentum push. Super solid trade, right? Plan your trade, trade your plan. Now, what we're all waiting for, the losing streak. Beautiful trade here on Tesla, right? 3 days in a row. So this is a high probability setup. Every trade that I've taken, high probability shot, I would 100% take again, right? Took my shot. This is the same trade that I took on Monday over our key level. Plan your trade, trade your plan. 8 times out of 10, it works. This week, we actually got a break and retest over 410 twice, 3 times. The second time I took it here, it ended up failing. It happens again, I believe, the day after. We ended up trending all the way up to 419. And then, of course, on Monday, you saw we took that, and that ended up trending up to 419. So super solid trade here. Plan your trade, trade your plan, break and retest over 410. Why? Because if we're over that, we're bullish bias, we're outside of a channel, and we have clean price action because we are outside of a channel. So let's go here, break it down. Nice. Okay, so this was a different trade, right? We ended up getting a solid breakout, made a high day. We pulled back. I saw buyers defending this thing. Like I always say, you want to treat your key levels like mini zones. So now the management of this trade is different, right? I want to see this high of day turn into support and get that continuation higher. So 410 set up 3 times this week, 3 times this week. Beautiful. So what do I want to see? I want to see this, right? Turn into support, break and retest over that, look for that continuation higher. So you guys know I don't trade my P&L. I don't care for the quick hit. I plan my trade, trade my plan. I waited for, right, this retest. I waited for buyers to step up. I got in on this momentum push here, right? Push into the high day. We just couldn't get that breakthrough. This is why you respect your stop loss, because we ended up failing. And when we fell, you can see that pretty much just fueled this thing lower. We were back inside of a channel. So let's go here to trade Tella. Solid, right? 9% stop. I got that push into the high day. Got that push into the high day. So what, we were up almost 900. So we were up pretty decent. Basically a 1-to-1, but I don't care about that, right? I want to look for the bigger move to continuation. This is no longer a momentum play, right? I'm finally getting in where, okay, now I have a swing high to target, and I want to see if we can get into that swing high and turn that into support. So if my profit target did not get hit, I'm not going to sell just for a quick profit, because I know if this plays out, I'm going to make X amount. So very happy with this trade. Plan my trade, trading my plan, a high RR trade if this works out. Right off the pre-market game plan, right? This was, day 3, looking at 410. If we can get a break and retest over that, this thing's gonna rocket to the upside. So that's what ended up happening. And then I'll actually show you what Tesla did end up doing, I believe the day after, because yeah, this was Wednesday. So let's look at Thursday. So great visual here on the 2 minute, right? So this was a trade that I just took on Wednesday, right? Plan my trade, traded my plan, got the break and retest there. And then I broke down going into Thursday session during the pre-market that you can see we ended up getting, it looks better on the 5 minute. We ended up getting, right, our break and retest during the pre-market. We've seen that happen plenty of times, and if that sets up, there's nothing we can do about it. Let's see, we ended up getting our break, retest over 410. This was around like 2:30 or something in the morning. And then what does that do? Feel that move higher. So this was also another high probability shot, because not only did we break and retest our 410, we're also above the previous day high. So super solid play there. Ended up gapping up technically. So what's our next key level? You can see over here, 419. We ended up getting a solid break and retest above that. And this thing pushed up to 428, right? So the same trade that I just took yesterday, like I said, 8 times out of 10, it works. Today or this week, we got that set up, what, twice? Yeah, on Thursday and on Monday, played out perfectly. So that day that I took that same setup, it just wasn't his day, right? Give me one sec. I'll show you here, right? Thursday, we're above 410. You can see here outside of the channel, we're bullish bias. Beautiful break, retest, continuation higher. This thing pushes up from 419 up to 428. I'm just going to round that to 429. So that's a super solid day there on Tesla. So our thesis was right. Just the probabilities weren't in our favor at that time, right? So you accept that. That's a good loss. You plan your trade, you traded your plan, you move on. Thursday. So took my shot here. Another high probability shot for me on QQQ. You guys know I've been hawking this trade for weeks now, for weeks. So proper risk management here. I knew I was going to give this a little bit more room. So you can see I scaled down tremendously. My average position size is anywhere between 20 to 30, right? So I scaled down tremendously because I know I'm trading 0 TE. I got to give this a little bit of time. This was the same day yesterday where, hey, you knew SPY 673 was the key level you were watching. A lot of people cashed out on that. For me personally, I was looking at the Qs. I was looking at the Qs. I wanted that. So I took my break and retest setup over QQQ. Probability just went in my favor, right? That day, it just did not play out. We ended up getting a solid break and retest. I'm going to go over that in a little bit. We ended up getting a solid break and retest. I had the overall market behind me. All the tech names were rallying to the upside. But Qs, it just couldn't hold it. It was a very strong level. So I'm going to go here on the daily just to give you a better visual of what I was looking at. Okay, so for the longest, you guys have heard me say, right? I want to see 61280 turn into support. It's the same trade that I take all the time. I've taken it on Apple, I've taken it on Nvidia, 8 times out of 10, works out, right? I want to see this turn into support. Keep in mind, this was before today. So as long as we're above 587, 85, we are bullish bias. Not only 2 days ago, we pushed all the way back down to the bottom of the range, we're back up here, right? We're back up here. So, look at Wednesday, and then look at Thursday. We're back at the top of the range. We actually gapped up. As we know, that was mainly due to NVIDIA's earnings. So you can see this wick here. We actually tried it. That's a high probability shot. I've been looking at this thing forever, right? That's exactly what I was looking for. Why? We're outside of the channel, and for me, this is the dip buy. This is the dip buy. All right, if you can get in here, give me one sec, give you a better line. Right, if you can get in here, that's what I'm looking at. That is perfect. That is textbook. That's what I'm looking at. Plan your trade, trade your plan. You guys know I've been hawking this for like, what, 2, 3 weeks? I'm taking that shot every single time. Every single time I'm taking that shot. This works out. Beautiful. Actually, I'll show you here, right? Let's look what SPY did, because we knew we were looking for SPY. Give me a sec. So look what SPY did yesterday, right? So many people cashed out on this. This was the break and retest over 673. I mean, this looks small now just because it had that big sell-off, but this level held very well, right? We ended up pulling back. This thing made a high day. We pulled back again, basically to the low day, and this thing pushed up and made another new high day. So, this is 673 on the Dow. We ended up pushing up to 675. So for a name like SPY, that's a very big move. That's a very big move. I was looking for the same thing here on the Qs. I go here, one sec, right? Give you a visual, right? Plan your trade, trade your plan. We ended up, I was looking at the 5 minute as well. Like I said, this looks much smaller because we had this big sell-off. But in the moment, these were big candles. So very patient here. I got a displacement candle. Give me one sec. I got a displacement candle here, right into the high day. I waited for that to close. You can see here, we ended up having a hammer stick candle. And the 5 minute candle as well closed above here, and that closed as a hammer stick candle. So plan my trade, trading my plan, was looking for that continuation, ended up getting stopped out, walked away. So I ended up hitting up on this day as well, going into today's session in my pre-market plan video, explaining why a part of my edge is less is more, and really only taking one trade. So I understood, hey, I took my high probability shot. It did not play out. See this setup again, right? You're thinking, oh, well, we made a new high day, good displacement. We retest here. You can see that's clearly a hammer stick candle right there. Give me one sec. You can see right here, right? That's clearly a hammer stick candle. You take your shot, you think, okay, we can get into this high day push and then continue higher. But no, we ended up selling off, right? Less is more. I understand what a high probability shot is. So if I took that play and it didn't work out, I'm not going to force it again, right? I'm not going to force that again. So super solid play here. I plan my trade, trading my plan. Everything else was rallying to the upside. Everything else, it was just Qs that was lagging a little bit behind. But when I saw SPY pull back and hold that 673 and rally to the upside, I was like, okay, I love the confluence here, right? I got the market behind me. SPY ended up pulling back, and that caused this pullback here on QQQ, right? But something that I said is, when you trade zero GTEs, you're already starting at a disadvantage. So I'm comfortable with that loss, right? I scaled down to what, 10, 12,000. So that's proper risk management on my end. And then lastly, today, SPY, right? Plan my trade, trading my plan again on the SPY. So this is okay for me. Like I said, like my max stop loss in a day is like maybe 20% really on my average position size. That's like my max stop loss. So this is okay for me, right? I'm solid with that because I ended up scaling down tremendously. Um, so still solid on the month, got a week left. Really, the only way you can boss this is if, right, you start breaking your rules. You go on tilt, you try and revenge trade. You got to think in terms of probabilities, and you always have to think of your next 100 trades, right? Some of my biggest months have come from a lower winning percentage, to be honest. So SPY, proper risk management. So yesterday, right, what did I do? I played a zero, right? But I understood what I was doing, what I was looking for. So if you notice here on my first attempt at 7:30, what's the date, right? I played Monday cons, right? I played next week contracts, and I scaled down. Let's see, what was I in? 10,000, right? So understand what I'm looking at. Plan your trade, trade your plan. I actually was up maybe 4 or 5%, and you can see, right? My thesis was correct. My thesis was correct. We're gonna go here on the chart. It was just a bull trap. I mean, I'm sorry, a bear trap. It was just a bear trap. You can see what do we do when we fell a key level? We reclaim it and fuel that move to the upside. We're already near back the high day. So I understood that. I took my shot twice just to end up playing out, right? Just not the best price action day, but that's expected because why? Yesterday we had a nice trendy day that is typically followed up by what? A consolidation day. So let's go here on the chart. So this is SPY, right? I actually ended up getting into this trade. I was up maybe 7%, but I know what I'm looking for. The same thing I'm teaching you guys, I'm taking the same setups. Why? Because this is the highest probability shot. right? As long as we're above 653, we are bullish bias. So the way I see this is if I can get in at the bottom of this range, I'm getting in on the dip, and this thing can move higher, right? This thing's gonna move higher. I mean, what happens when we reclaim a key level? Hold on, let me clean this up a little bit. What happens when we reclaim a key level? We feel that move higher. So we ended up doing that, and we're already back up near the high day. It's no coincidence. So I got stopped out here. A very, very solid trade because I'm gonna break this down a little bit thoroughly for you. Not only did I play next week cons, I understood, hey, my stop loss is going to be under the lower day. So my stop loss was actually here under the lower day because I'm understanding, okay, I want to make sure that my stop loss is where market structure breaks. If we fall through the lower day, I'm clearly going to get stopped out here and my thesis is incorrect. But you can see here, right, we ended up falling, right, 4 minutes, push back up. We came back again to this key level and push back up. So that being said, I would 100% take this trade again, right? Plan your trade, trade your plan. This is a high probability shot, just not the best price action. We can clearly see that. So I waited. I ended up getting in, had to be, well, we'll go back here to TradeZilla. I believe I got in like somewhere right here. And I was looking for this target here. We ended up getting a push into that. And then ultimately we failed. I got stopped out here, played next week cons, super solid trade. So let's go here on the weekly just so I can show you what I'm talking about. Right, this is how I'm thinking, right? I'm not looking to fight this trend. I'm not looking to fight this trend. Look at every time we push into 653, what do? We push to the top of the range. So for me, this is a high probability shot, right? Let's look at this. Here, look at that. Every time we pull back here, what does that do? Shoots back up. We pulled here again. You can see here, we pulled back here again. We made all-time highs. So what am I seeing, right? We're holding this. If we can hold this, I'm getting in at the bottom of this range, looking to be, like I always say, right? I want to be in a position down here before we get back up here. So we'll see how today closes. But I mean, this is the dip buy. This is the biggest RR trade, right? That's why I played next week contracts. I was looking to hold this. I didn't care about being up, 7, 8%. Because I'm looking to get into the start of here, right? That thing goes in my favor, just turns into a swing trade. So right, I'm willing to risk this much to make this much. I really hope that makes sense. Really hope that makes sense. I'm trying to show you what a high probability trade is and what a high RR trade is. So when I take this trade again, even though I lost, absolutely, absolutely, right? That is solid. That's the dip buy. That is the dip buy, right? It's easy to look at this now and be like, oh, well, maybe tomorrow, I'm sorry, on Monday, Tuesday, we end up gapping up. You're going to see like, oh, okay, I see what he was talking about, right? This is the highest probability shot for a long entry. I would 1000% take that again. So let's go here on the daily. I mean, look at that. This is a hammer stick candle on the daily. I ended up just getting squeezed out of my position for a loss. Ended up getting squeezed out of my position for a loss. I knew exactly what I was looking at, right? Straight up equals straight down. This is a lot of thin volume to the downside. We had red photo news today. The forecast was good. So this is a high probability shot. I'm looking for that. So this hammer stick candle you want to see, super solid. So what did I do? I ended up taking a shot again. Ended up taking a shot again. Let me go here to TradeZilla. You can see here on TradeZilla, I ended up taking this shot again. Now, look at my time difference, right? My first shot was at 7:30. My second shot was almost at 8 o'clock. I didn't rush this. I was very, very patient. Very, very patient. I just showed you the educational video I made on how to play the reclaim. You can see we actually ended up holding this thing solid during market open, right? Look at every time we pulled down here, this thing shot back up. Look at all these wicks and it would shoot back up. So we ended up falling. I was very, very patient. I got in here on another break and retest. I ended up getting stopped out really quick. And you can see this thing shot up. So I was done on the day. 2 trades, walk away. But my thesis was correct. I knew what I was looking for. I knew what I was looking at. We ended up coming, what? The lower day was 650.88, and now we're already back at 656. We were bullish bias. So look at that. We're already breaking through the high day. There's nothing I can do about that though, right? My job is to just take my shots every time they set up. So playing your trade, trade your plan. This is a high probability shot. Like if you caught this some way, somehow, and you're sitting in this, you see what I'm talking? Look at this weekly candle wick. So something that I've learned as a trader is really your best trades, it has nothing to do with the win or the loss. Your best trades, they sometimes they won't play out. Out of every single trade that I've taken this week, this was my best shot. This is my best trade. I would 100% take that again. Because why? History likes to repeat itself. Everyone's coming in thinking, oh no, we're bearish, we're selling off the weekly. Man, this is the best trade, the best level you can get in for a long entry, 653. And you can clearly see we're already having a V-shaped recovery. We just broke to the high day. We got a hammer stick candle forming on the daily. So this is trading, right? I want to show you how this worked. I mean, this is trading. I was in this trade. Nothing I can do about that. So I got to respect my stop loss. I set my stop loss below the lower day. We end up ripping through that. I got to get out of that. I can't hope, right? And another thing I'll hit on really, really quick, right? Look at my stop losses, 8%, right? I even played a zero here. Scaled down. I took my shot. I was looking for it. 8%. Solid. So you can see what's my average losses? About 1,800, 1,700. They're not 10 times bigger than my wins, right? This was a pretty big loss day, but that's fine. Easily bounce back from that. But I scaled down tremendously because I knew I was going to give this some room. So plan your trade, trade your plan. This was a solid week for me. Like that's exactly what I mean when I say your performance as a trader is not judged based on P&L. It's judged based on discipline, following your rules. The same thing that got me all these days, it's the same thing that I did here. You got to understand that. So hope this helps. Hope you guys were able to learn from this. But like I said, my best trade this week is not Tesla. It's not this winning day. It's this. This is the trade that I wish worked out. I really, really do. So now you can do about that. Let's go here on the intraday. I mean, look at that. That is beautiful. I knew what I was looking for. I'm playing the break and retest on the weekly time frame. Remember, the higher the time frame, the better. So, you get into a swing trade here, right? Like I'm teaching you how to grow small accounts. You get into a swing trade here. I mean, bro, no matter what happens next week, this thing moves higher. As long as you're above 653, you're in a great trade. You're in a great trade. So, ended up getting squeezed, right? What does that do? Feels that move higher. We ended up reclaiming this. We feel this thing higher. We broke through the high day, and this thing is still going. So, this is really my best trade of the week, but it wasn't a winning trade. Really hope that makes sense. So, appreciate love, support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's keep this thing going.